I should. Oh
That's
well.
okay. No worries. I just didn't know if you wanted to or not.
I actually forgot it. Too many
That's okay.
weird things going on.
Yes. Okay. We should be live. Hold up, make sure that I can see us. Which, hopefully. Perfect.
I see us live. Yep.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Welcome to episode 30 of the TCCG Roundtable. We're your hosts, dragonrider and RonMexico. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. We are doing this a little bit earlier than we usually do. So I'm not feeling fully awake yet. I haven't gotten a chance to drink my coffee either. But other than that, pretty good. There feels like a lot of stuff going on in card games and just excited.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a milestone episode. We're at episode 30, and we have some exciting stuff to, talk about on the show for later as well. It's a good day.
Absolutely. All right, well, before we really start getting into any news, just want to kind of mention that we might have some people hanging out. We will be announcing the Hearthstone Titans bundle giveaway winner later on in the episode. So if you are, checking us out for that, then stay tuned. We will be announcing the winner. And yeah, thank you again to Blizzard for giving me some codes to give away. And I thought, let's make sure that we promote this show because I think we do some really good stuff over here. So
Hey.
I'm glad that we can do that. But real quick, what do you got going on just in general?
Oh, it's been such a busy week. Life things going on in my corner of the world. My partner's graduating from nursing school. Her family's visiting. Everything's up in the air, and it's a mile a minute. But as far as the card game scene and everything, just still marking each day off on the calendar. One day closer to Titans. Playing a lot of Arena now lately in Hearthstone because Arena has new Titans cards available to play with before the actual expansion releases, which is a whole lot of fun.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, so
and
fun.
my whole like draft strategy is this a new card? Yes, then I pick it.
It's the perfect strategy. What could go wrong?
If it's not a new card, then I'm just sad and I click some other thing and I'm like, okay, next
Yeah.
one's gonna be a new card for sure. Yeah. So but it's been fun. How about you?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about some Titans for our main topic. I'm very excited for that. Otherwise, I think right now it's just I've been kind of focused on or refocused, I guess. I think I mentioned the last episode or two episodes ago, that I've kind of had some health issues and I'm kind of trying to get back on track with my content and kind of get everything going. So this past week or so has been a lot of like just reevaluating kind of what direction I want to go, setting everything up for that, and preparing as well for the Supergirl Gamer Pro tournaments that I am running. So the tournament admin for those. So it's been a lot of work. And just like constant, checking stuff, but it's been good and I'm excited. So that's what I've been
Absolutely.
doing.
Uh, and for those watching at home, when is the Supergirl tournament coming up?
Well, we have two qualifiers that are happening, and that's actually happening this weekend. So we're recording today, Friday, so that is happening. The first qualifier is tomorrow, Saturday, and the second one is Sunday. And then basically the top two from each of those qualifiers, plus the top four point earners outside of those, will qualify for a top eight championship that will be happening the following Saturday on August 5th.
You love to see it.
Yeah. So, been preparing a lot and it's finally here. So,
Yeah,
super
and
excited.
it's going to be really interesting for the competitors when you qualify
Yeah.
in a totally different meta than
Yes.
what you're playing the
Yeah.
tournament in. So hey, good luck. I hope you're good at adjusting to a brand new
Yeah.
meta.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. And, I've been casting it for the last several years. So to be on the tournament admin side and running things and, again, I think it's a good fit for me for like where I'm at just in life and stuff right now. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of see it from that perspective. So
Absolutely.
yeah, but all right, Ron, why don't you go ahead and take it away with this week's term of the week?
All right. So this week's term of the week, we're going to talk a little bit about lifesteal, sometimes called life link, or maybe similar wording, kind of revolving around, basically just restoring life. And the way that the keyword works is it typically will go on a minion or a creature, and when that creature does damage, it will heal your hero for the amount of damage that is done. It's not always on a creature. Sometimes it could be on a weapon or a spell or something else, but typically it involves dealing damage to something, and then the amount of damage that's dealt will also heal your hero. Kind of insane as an ability. Like, I think it's one of the more overpowered ones that exists in card games. Because you put some other keywords on top of that, things can go real crazy. Currently, there's a hunter deck in Hearthstone that is. I don't even think it would exist without one particular card, and that card is made good by the fact that it has lifesteal. And it also has a cleave effect, which is another keyword we may discuss later, that, damages multiple things at the same time based on their positioning. And it lifesteals everything it hits. So, yeah, you go from very little health to a lot of health real quick. A really cool, interesting keyword, but one that probably needs to be held in check.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really fascinating to see how the different card games all kind of use like life steal, life link, life gain type effects, and kind of the different combinations that they do because of that. Like I said, I think there's probably a little bit more keeping that in check in something like Hearthstone. Um, I remember, again, this is probably going to age me, but like, wow, this had to have been 14, 15 years ago.
Solid.
I remember putting together a black and white magic deck based on the card Sanguine Bond. And it was a card where any damage you did also gave you that life. So yeah, it was pretty gross. So it was just dealing damage, killing stuff, gaining a bunch of life, well beyond my starting life, and I felt pretty proud of that because it was a deck that I put together myself. But playing that in person was interesting because I was definitely not a very liked person for bringing that.
Not very popular. Playing the
Yeah.
the deck, yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting just to see the kind of different ways that different games can use that effect.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's get into this week's news. There's kind of a little bit here and there, but we have Gen Con happening the first weekend of August. That is happening next weekend. I am getting pretty excited for that. It's going to be a pretty big event for a lot of card games. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So I think probably the Friday when we record after Gen Con has ended, we'll probably discuss a lot of like what happened. We'll discuss, some of the things because I know there's going to be some events for Disney Lorcana. So people are going to be getting their hands on product and actually playing it. So that's going to be really interesting. I know Soulforge Fusion is having their like World Championship event. So there's definitely a lot of stuff. I'm sure Magic is going to be there. Going to be tons of stuff for card games. And there's always like new things announced at Gen Con too. It's a big place for companies to like reveal new games that are coming out. So I'm very excited for that. But that's probably still like 2 weeks out from now for when we get to discuss that. But that is coming up very, very soon. And of course, as we already mentioned, and we will be talking about for our main topic, The Titans expansion for Hearthstone is launching August 1st, which is this coming Tuesday. So just a few days away.
Can't
For
wait.
Magic. Yeah, I know. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's close. Not much longer. For Magic, they do have a big thing going on this weekend with MagicCon Barcelona. So that is happening this weekend, starting with today, July 28th, happening through the 30th. There's a ton of stuff going on there. Ron's going to talk a little bit about the Pro Tour happening, but it's a big convention, so they have all sorts of different stuff going on. It's a huge celebration, and there's a lot of stuff happening there. So definitely going to be keeping my eye on like what's going on there, what other stuff happens. And I think that's already probably started kicking off because it's in Barcelona, so the
Right.
time zones. I think it started for us probably at like somewhere around 1 to 3 a.m., depending on our time zone. So that's probably already been underway for several hours. But yeah, that is going on. And then, of course, for Pokemon, as we've been mentioning, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Obsidian Flames expansion set is coming out not much farther after the Hearthstone expansion is coming out August 11th. So getting pretty excited for that. And then, of course, the DC Dual Force is in open beta. As we mentioned a little bit ago, that they kind of had opened that beta. It is underway. So if you are interested in trying out DC Dual Force, you don't need any sort of game code or anything like that. You can just go to the website, register, and start playing, checking that game out. And we'll keep things updated with how that's been going. But I think that is kind of just a quick rundown of some news for this week. Ron, what do you have for some competitive and organized play?
All right. So, competitive and organized play. We'll start with Hearthstone, which just had Lobby Legends take place last weekend, and we were able to crown a champion for the Summer Championship in the $50,000 prize pool. The top spot went to Waterloo. I hope he says his name that way anyway. There's a whole lot of O's, so how could he not? He took the $10,000 first place prize. Max 7K followed up in number two, and Tume took the third place spot. Very fun, cool event that happened, over the course of a couple of days. And interestingly, Waterloo won first in the fifth and sixth round of battlegrounds in the Lobby Legends to take it down. I don't know who was actually in front, but I think it was probably Max 7K who would have, I think, likely taken the first place spot, if not for a double first place, which is a pretty thrilling way to end the championship. So very cool. Big congratulations to Waterloo. As far as things happening outside of that, we do have the Masters Tour for Hearthstone coming up August 19th through the 20th, as mentioned previously on the show. So very exciting to look forward to players diving into a new meta and making Masters Tour lineups about 3 weeks after the expansion launches. Should be exciting. We've got Worlds for Pokemon happening in Japan, August 11th through 13th. For Magic, of course, as Dawn already mentioned, we have the Pro Tour Lord of the Rings, which is happening this weekend at MagicCon Barcelona. And that is going to be nearly 280 players facing off for $500,000 in prizes. As Hearthstone players everywhere green with envy. But it should be a very exciting thing, and it's featuring, of course, the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth set, which should be very exciting to follow. Moving on to Yu-Gi-Oh! We have the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series event is going to be taking place in Cancun, Mexico, September 16th through the 17th of this year. And Flesh and Blood, we have Calling Birmingham happening this weekend. and also USA Nationals at the Westgate Las Vegas Report, where a calling event will be happening, and that is coming up August 25th through the 27th. And that is everything I have for competitive and organized play for now.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get into this week's roundtable topic, the kind of main topic of our show this week. And of course, we're going to be talking about Hearthstone Titans, as you mentioned earlier on, because it's coming out Tuesday. We're both definitely going to be playing a lot of it. As you mentioned as well, they're already, included some of these new cards in Arena. So people have already been kind of getting the chance to jump into Arena, maybe get some new cards to try to play them. And that does include some of the Titans. Definitely have been seeing a lot of talk about the Titans, so people have gotten to check that out. And that includes, the new keyword Forge. There's Forge cards in Arena. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, and it's very exciting. But I don't know what you want to kick it off with. If you want to talk about your experience so far with Arena and playing the new cards, if you want to start with what we're excited for, what do you feel like we want to start with this topic?
We'll start with what's currently going on. That's the fun part of playing Hearthstone at the moment, at least for me, which is playing in Arena. Because I just want to play with the new cards. We can see the new cards. We can look at them. We can theory craft decks, all these things, but you can't play with the new cards in Standard yet, or Wild for that matter, any game mode. Except you can play with the new cards in Arena. So for your typical 150 gold buy-in, you do your run that ends with either 12 wins or 3 losses, and you get to draft a 30 card deck of random cards that are offered, and some of those random cards will be Titans cards, and it's been a lot of fun. Occasionally it gets annoying because Mage is everywhere apparently in Arena and is like way too strong, especially with some of their Titan cards that they have that kind of go a little crazy. One of the best cards is a common card, which means it's more likely to show up. So if you are going to be playing Arena and you're offered Mage, you should probably pick Mage. But yeah, it's just been a blast. Like, see a new card, take a new card, try to play as many as possible, get a feel for how they are in the game. I've already been pretty impressed by some of the cards I maybe would have underestimated. Things like I played a bunch of Hunter, and I don't know if you've played with Awakening Tremors or evaluated that card yet, but 3 1-mana 4/1 worms it's kind of crazy. Like, that's a lot of stats. You can just play them really early and just run away with the game. But yeah, like Arena's been really fun, and I'm just super hyped for all of the new things, especially once we get into Standard.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, because I think some of the cards are obviously better in certain formats than they are in others. So getting to see them in Arena is like, is this just because if they're really good in Arena, is this just because they're really good in Arena, or because they're just really good as a card in general, right? Like, are they going to also be that good in Standard?
The short answer is
sure
no.
Yet.
Probably no.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, people will even evaluate, cards that get released as, oh, this is an Arena card. Like, as in it's fine in Arena, or maybe it's good in Arena, but play in Constructed, Standard, and this card will never see play because it's not even close to good enough. It's just such a different mode with generally more minion combat, random decks being picked. You can't really construct the level of synergy that you want to in Standard. So I've fallen into that trap before, when I was newer in Hearthstone, where I played Arena and I was like, wow, this deck is really good. I can't lose with this deck. Maybe I should make a deck like this in Standard, because it was so good in Arena. And I did that, and I lost a lot of games. And I'm like, okay, that was a mistake. Lesson learned.
Yes. Yes. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's fun to still be able to try these cards out. So I did at least a little bit of an arena run. I definitely did not get to play as much as you were, because you were playing on stream and just did a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I've started an arena run as Death Knights, and I don't know if just my draft was not great, but it did not feel very good. Not gonna lie, I was
Death Knight
like
was my
Death Knight.
worst one.
Yeah,
Of
Death
all the
Knight
ones that
feels
I played,
pretty terrible.
yeah, I went like 1 and 3. It was awful.
Yeah,
It's also because the Death Knight cards are centered around plagues, and uh, plagues really need like more of a build around for the deck. Uh, but if you're taking new cards for Death Knight because you're excited about it, you'll probably not get very many plague cards, and then you'll have
yeah.
like
Hmm.
payoff cards that do nothing. And yeah, the whole deck is just terrible. I went like 1 and 3. It was really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so far I'm like 0 and 2, and I'm like, this is not great. But I faced another Death Knight, and it seemed like they definitely had a better deck than I did. But yeah, it was like, I mean, to be fair, I also did the same drafting style of if it's a new card, I
Yeah,
just want
yeah,
to pick
yeah.
it. So like, probably not, probably not the best strategy for actually trying to win. But
We
it's
don't need to
fun.
win. We just need to play new cards.
Yeah, you just want to play the new cards, which I will say, I did also want to draft a lot of Forge cards because for me, like I know a lot of people are excited about the Titans, and I'm excited for the Titans. I think they're cool, but the new keyword Forge and the synergies potential with Forge, I'm really excited about. I think honestly, I feel like the kind of order of operations for impactful keywords has been like we've had discover, we've had like magnetic, right? We've had actually magnetic probably came before discover, and then we had tradable, and now we have forge. And I'm actually really excited for forge. I think it's a really cool mechanic. I think it's a lot more fluid and solid of a mechanic than I think people are probably giving it credit for. At first, I'm like, oh, this is kind of, this kind of sucks. Like, you got to pay 2 mana. So, like, if it's a 5 cost card and you want to forge it, you're really paying 7 because you have to pay the 2 to forge it, then the 5 to play it. Like, that's
Right.
expensive. But you can forge on different turns. So, you don't even have to forge it the same turn that you play it. But I will say that I have already made a mistake that I am not going to make when I try stuff in standard, which is the I drafted the neutral card that when it's on the board, it's the key right there. When it is on the board, it has the effect of when you forge a card, you get a copy of it. I read that in my
Oh,
hand and was like, yes, sweet. All right, I'm going to forge this card. And then I forged the other
yep.
card and went,
Oops.
oops, I didn't play that thing first. Oh
Yeah.
no. So yeah, whoops.
Yeah.
You're supposed
It'll
to put it
happen.
on the board and get the effect and then forge something. So now
There's a learning curve.
yeah.
We can't be expected to read the cards in full
Yeah.
before
What?
we like. Come on,
Who wants to
that's
read
for
them?
later.
Yeah. But at least that's kind of a cool thing that we can just like jump into arena and play around a little bit with the new
Yeah,
cards like that and be able to figure that stuff out before launch day.
absolutely. It's very fun to do. And speaking of Forge, actually, that reminds me of one of my favorite cards in the new expansion. I wanted to go through like what our favorite Titans are and what our favorite non-Titans are. So I'm gonna start off with I'll give myself the restriction of favorite non-hunter card. And I think this card is really, really cool, and that's Ignis the Eternal Flame. You're talking about forging, and this particular card has a very cool connection with the forge keyword. So it's a 4 mana 2/4, and its battle cry is if you forged a card this game, craft a custom weapon. And oh man, custom stuff. It just goes crazy. There's so many options. You can pick a 1 mana weapon that's a 2/2. You can pick a 5 mana weapon that's a 3/4. You can pick a 10 mana weapon that's a 5/6. And the cheaper the selection, the fewer options you have, or the weaker the options are. And then, it scales all the way through. And you can do everything from lifesteal or poisonous or wind fury or gaining armor on attacks or death rattle that damages minions or a cleave effect or give your hero immune or gain armor on the attacks. Like, it is summon minions, deal extra damage, card draw, like all of these crazy things that can be connected with this one card. It's super exciting. I think I'm gonna have to craft it gold like right away, because it will also give you gold weapons. I mean, that's amazing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of involved, and I think people who might not understand the card when they first play it are probably going to be like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
You play
So
the card, you're like, cool, I'm gonna do the thing. It's lit up yellow, so it does the
yeah.
thing now. I'll play it, and then just get a giant list of options. You're like,
Yes.
just start
Yeah.
clicking. Close your eyes, start clicking.
But for people who do know what the card does, or after you kind of get familiar with it, this is so cool. Plus, like for me, I love the fact that it's just if you forged a card this game, because then, you could forge something on turn two, you could draw this halfway through the game and it's going to be active. So, it's not, you don't have to have this in your hand and forge a card or something like that. It's a little bit less restrictive, even though it has that slight restriction. So for me, I think that's awesome. And yeah, I'm super excited to try this card out. Plus, as I mentioned, like I love Discover. So the fact of like, this is kind of like a different version of crafting a beast, but it's crafting a weapon. You get discover options. It's flexible. You get to make those decisions. It's just, there's so much I love about this card.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, you can go crazy and pick the 10 mana one. Maybe you might be playing this on like turn 9 or something, or turn 10, and setting up for a huge turn afterwards. You might be taking the really cheap one, playing this in the early game and doing some very impactful like board focus things. Or you could take like the medium sized one. Maybe you still like play it on turn 9 and it's a surprise burst, like generate the weapon and give it wind fury and do some damage. And it could be like a way to win the game right there on the spot. So it has all of the flexibility. It's pretty cool.
Yes, yes. Now it is a legendary, so for Hearthstone that means only one copy in the deck.
True.
So you'll have to actually draw it from your deck, but I still think it's going to be really cool. I don't know. I'm really excited to try this one out personally. I think this is a really cool kind of in-depth like concept with all the options that it feels like it's kind of been a little while since they did something quite as involved as this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might not even be all that good, but I am so ready to lose a ton of games just checking out like the different options on this card and having fun with it. And maybe it'll be good. Who knows?
Yes, yes. Oh, man, that's like such a good one. I really like that one too. All right, well, that was your non-Titan card, right?
Yes.
All right.
I can tell you Titan card if you're still on the fence about your favorite, or you can take over with your favorite non-Titan.
No, I want to hear your Titan.
Okay. So my favorite Titan. Now this may shock you, Dragon Rider, but it happens to be the Hunter Titan. I know.
What? That
Out
actually
of
is
left field.
shocking. Because I feel like not a lot of people like it.
I think it's insane. It looks really, really strong. So a 6 mana 3/7. It has a battle cry that equips a 3/3 weapon, and its abilities are extremely powerful. Um, of course, the one I think that people have kind of talked about the most is give your weapon +2 attack, and your hero is immune while attacking. If you remember, Tyrion, a legendary card for Paladin, has Divine Shield and Taunt and a Death Rattle to get a 5/3 weapon, and it costs 8 mana. Now, maybe you needed Tyrion, at certain points of Hearthstone's history for the taunt or something, but a lot of times you just wanted that weapon. Well, this guy gives you that weapon immediately on 6 mana. You could play it on turn 5 with the coin, and you're going in with a 5/3 weapon that also gives your hero immune while you attack. And that might not even be the pick that you make. You might start off by picking card draw instead. So now all 3 swings of that weapon draw you a card. Or maybe you want to lead off with you summon a 3/3 taunt every time you swing your weapon. And if this minion actually survives for, past the first turn that it gets played, you get to choose the next one. And maybe from there, you're drawing a card, or then gaining the attack, or then picking the taunt. Just all of the options are really powerful, and they're really flexibly good depending on the game state. But I think most people have talked about, okay, play a 6 mana guy, get a 5/3 weapon. The body of the minion is hard to deal with. The 5/3 weapon's insane. Just send 15 damage straight to the face. We're Hunter. We're not going to trade. You kidding? Hit him in the face.
That's right. That's right. Always face. Okay, real quick though, for anyone who might not know what Titans are or how they work, let's talk about that so that we give a little bit of context to like what you mean by like picking this first turn. So the way that Titans work is you get to play them, and just like any card game, just like other cards in Hearthstone, it is a minion, so it's going to go onto the board. But instead of being able to attack until you use all the abilities, it has abilities. So while it has any abilities, it can't attack like normal. You have the option to you'll be able to click the minion, and it will pop up 3 options the first turn that you play it. You can use an ability the first turn that you play it, and you'll get to pick one of those 3 options. So like Ron was saying, one option is, to give the weapon that it equips, give your hero immune while attacking, and it also gives it added attack. So that's one option. Now, once you pick one of those options, you can only pick one per turn. The next turn, when you click the Titan to use an ability, the option that you already picked will kind of be, it'll have like chains around it, as I've seen people with the theory crafting it shows. So it is kind of locked. You cannot pick that ability again. Just once you can use that ability. So then you'll have the option between the other 2. Now, this is a minion on board, and even though it can't attack, it can still be attacked. So, as Ron was saying, if it lives to the next turn, right, because your opponent can still attack into it or send spells at it or target it to try to kill it off so that you don't get multiple abilities off in, multiple turns.
Yeah, and I mean, that's an important part of evaluating the Titans, because if you're playing a Titan onto the battlefield, I think that sends a very clear message to your opponent. Like, alarm bells are going off. Your opponent's like, "Oh God, kill it now, kill it with fire!" Just like you gotta get rid of that thing immediately, because the abilities are very scary.
Yes, and it's really interesting looking at the different Titans. Each class has a Titan with 3 different abilities. There is an effect, some sort of effect on each Titan card as well. Like this Hunter one has that battle cry to equip a weapon, and then the abilities are kind of based around that. And each Titan per class has its own, kind of special effect on the card, plus the 3 abilities, and that works, with the class, works with those abilities. So it's very, very interesting. Just like pretty much anything else that we've seen in the past, based on, these kind of multi-class things, right? We've had hero cards, we've had a lot of other stuff for each class. I'm sure some of them are probably going to be more powerful, like for standard, more used, more popular than some of the other ones. But just on their own, I do think each one is very interesting, and they I feel like the developers did a really good job like making these feel unique and each have their kind of own things that they're aiming for. As I
Absolutely.
said, you're excited for this one. I know a lot of people have not really been hyped about the Hunter one, so I am really interested to see the Hunter one and like how good it ends up being or not.
I think Agrimar's gonna show some people up. If they're thinking it's not really that impressive, I think they'll wind up being impressed fairly soon with seeing how strong this card will be. Of course, I could be totally wrong, but it does look quite powerful for me. I will say
Yes.
one kind of weird thing about the Titans, though, in general, is as far as I understand it, the when you play them and you have to pick the ability, there's not an option to not pick the ability and just have the Titan attack and save the ability for the next turn. It'd be such a fringe case where you would ever do that because the abilities are so strong. But I do think it's kind of funny that you play a Titan and they are required to use all three abilities before they attack. Once they run out, they're just regular minions and they can attack. Um, but I feel like you should have the option. Is that too much? Maybe because like I don't know if there's this big old Titan on the board, like for instance this guy and the opponents at 3 health. Why is he just sitting there not doing anything? And hey, here's another ability to not win the game. Although I could have hit them in the face and won the game for you. Just I don't know.
Well, then play other things to attack with instead of playing the Titan.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
The Titan doesn't want to sully
it's
their hands. I get
yeah. I
it.
don't know. It's really interesting. I think if that were an option, honestly, I feel like that would be too powerful. Just because I already feel like the effects on the card plus the abilities are already very powerful on their own.
Perhaps it would.
And if you were to have the option of attacking, it also prolongs how or like how long into the game you would have the option of using those abilities. So I think that that could be pretty powerful and probably something that they wanted to avoid. Um, but I don't know. I It's gonna be so interesting to see like are these Titans even gonna be living long enough to like do
Yeah,
damage?
yeah.
I don't think
I feel
so.
like, I mean, probably, you play a Titan, it gets its one ability off and then it dies. But they are high health things, so they're kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Are you ready for mine, Ron?
So ready.
All right. We're gonna stay in Hunter because I
Hey,
think this
here
is
we
one
are.
of my favorite cards of the set that's not a Titan is this Absorbent Parasite, which is a 2 mana, 3 attack, 1 health minion that says magnetic and rush, and it can magnetize to mechs and beasts. I just love this. I think this is so cool. I'm a fan of mechs and magnetizing, and obviously I love Hunter. Like Hunter is one of my favorite classes as well. But the ability to magnetize to multiple things we've seen in like battlegrounds, but we haven't really seen that for standard or other modes outside of battlegrounds yet. So I think this is super, super cool. And also the fact that it has rush on top of that magnetize, plus this kind of, 3 attack magnetizing onto something and giving it rush is kind of a lot. Kind of
It
a
is.
lot. I'm super excited for this card. I think it's so good.
This is the card that could maybe finally make Savannah Highmane playable again. I'm just kidding, it's not playable. But it's really cool that you can give a beast rush as well as a mech rush with this minion magnetizing onto it. Extra stats, um, anything that you need to has the rush ability. I mean, maybe you just even combine it with like one of the Hydra heads that you summoned for an additional thing to do. Um, the possibilities are all over the place, and it is also just on its own like, hey, sometimes you need a 3 power rusher for somewhat cheap. Hunter often needs a fox from the wild spirits, and it's like, oh well, if I roll the fox I'm probably fine, if I don't I'll probably lose, type of scenarios. And this, obviously you wouldn't run a 2 mana 3/1 rush. That's a card that already exists that nobody plays. But the extra ability is super insane. And if you have any way to buff that, either in hand or otherwise, it starts to get extra scary. I love it.
Yes.
Great card. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it too.
One of my favorites. All right. I think for my Titan, this is so tough. I really don't know. Like, I have heard a lot about some other ones. I think, though, my favorite has to be the Druid. At least I feel like this is going to be, like, really strong. The Druid Titan here. A&R, the Lifebinder. She is a 10 mana, 5 attack, 7 health. And after this uses an ability, summon a 5/5 Ancient with Taunt. Okay, sure. You get a taunt to put up after you use an ability to kind of protect her. But the abilities that she allows you to choose from are draw cards until your hand is full, or you can restore your hero to full health, or you can refresh your mana crystals. Wow, there's so much flexibility in this. Yes, she's 10 mana though, so that's, I think, where maybe like the downside. I don't even know if it's a downside, but like, yeah, it would be so busted if it weren't.
Right? Not okay. It
Yes.
costs less. I'd be fine with this at 11.
Yeah.
Only one card able to make it. No,
Yeah,
too much.
but I think it's really interesting because a lot of the other Titans, like the Paladin one, has taunt itself, right? We just looked at that Hunter one. This is the one that I feel like after you use an ability, you get the taunt. So it also tries to protect it, which I feel like increases the odds that you will have it stick around for at least that second turn to get in one of those additional abilities as well. So I don't know. I feel like this is so powerful. However, I will say for the expansion as a whole and Druid, I am much more excited for a more aggressive Treant Druid than I am for, spending 10 mana on this. But
right.
In terms of the Titans, I think this is really cool.
Yeah, this is one of the most powerful Titans. I mean, it's kind of insane. Like, you get the Reno effect. You can full heal your hero, and that completely changes the game. So when Druid gets to 10 mana, if you've been chipping away at their health all game, oops, I guess that's out the window now, like just off the bat with this. But the craziest thing to me is that it summons a taunt, a 5/5 taunt each time you use the ability. And literally one of the abilities is use another ability right away. So play that, refresh the mana, summon a taunt, then or I guess no, you can't actually immediately do the other ability, right?
Right, yeah, you can only use one ability per
That would be way too too strong.
But you can play this, use the ability, you get this and a 5/5 taunt, and then you have your refreshed mana crystals, so then you can play whatever else you want out of your hand. Maybe an additional taunt, or maybe some removal,
so
something else to help protect it.
A free 5/7 and a 5/5 taunt and a must-remove minion that's hiding behind a taunt that's going to do something terrifying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Seems good.
I think flavor-wise and my personal style of play, this is not my favorite for that. But in terms of the actual just card itself and looking at them in a vacuum and the abilities, I think this one is so good.
Yeah. Also, I think Druid has some copy cards too. So you could copy this and, play this, refresh, play the other copy of this, and then do more things. Yeah. When Druid hits 10 mana, it's going to be terrifying again.
Yes.
Kind of
thank goodness Guff is not in standard
Oh
anymore.
yeah. Oh yeah.
We don't need more than 10 mana. No thanks.
All right. Some
Oh,
good favorites. I like it.
yeah.
So just overall, there's so many cool cards. Like this expansion, to me, I mean, we haven't played with it yet, but I feel like they've knocked it out of the park with like the things that they made that are just so exciting to see, and like power levels of things. Like Titans is just, it's a super exciting concept. I think it's probably what I've been most excited about in Hearthstone since Colossals, as far as like an introduction of a new like exciting thing. Um,
Yeah.
Death Knight notwithstanding, like new classes I evaluate differently, but yeah, like oh, this is cool. This is really cool.
Yes. Yes, it is. And like I said, I'm excited about like the forge keyword. I don't know. There's so many things. It's just so exciting.
And we just keep counting down the days. You know, almost there, almost there. It's right around the corner, and we're
Yes.
excited, of course, to also have a giveaway to help you guys at home get extra excited about Titans as well.
That is right. Yes. So let me just share this screen here for all of our viewers. Sorry, audio listeners, you're not going to get a chance to see this here. But we did get some bundles to give away from being in the creator program. So, again, thank you to Blizzard for giving me those to give away, and decided to give one away through the show because that's, I think, a good way to build this up. But once I can get this here, I don't know why it's not wanting to show the right page. No. All right. Let me close out my other thing.
We like to build the suspense, though. It's
Yes,
a
that's what I'm doing.
good way to drum up, the hype. Everyone's like, just okay, who's it gonna be? Will you be the lucky winner? I love the build up.
All right. Still not correct. I don't know why it's not correct here. All right. Well, we'll show it here. All right. So yes, we did run the giveaway through our Twitter there. So we wanted people to follow us, like, and retweet the post, and said that we would be announcing the winner on the show. So Ron, do you want to say who our winner is?
Absolutely. Let me go find that here. Our winner is RonMexico at AlexRoar14. Congratulations on winning your Titans bundle. Best of luck, and appreciate the participation in the giveaway. Congratulations to you.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much, everybody who did enter. We definitely will, try to do more of these giveaways and other giveaways as well, like for other card games and just maybe some physical stuff as we continue growing the show and growing our audience. So, definitely if you're interested in giveaways, stick around. I know I would love in the future to do some more giveaways through our affiliates. Because they have some really cool stuff over there. So, Inked Gaming has some really neat stuff. So we'll probably do some giveaways and stuff through them as well. So yeah, but thank you everybody for hanging out and checking out our giveaway and entering that if you did. And get excited for Titans if you aren't already. I don't know. I'm excited. But anything else that you want to talk about before we do our wrap up here, Ron?
Just just looking for a time machine to jump to August 1st, But until then, just enjoy the build up, the end of the expansion cycle. There's going to be some cards that will play a lot differently. If you are a Hearthstone enjoyer like myself and Dragon Rider, that you might not be able to play as often or competitively anymore. So if you have any favorites, now's a good time to play those out to your heart's content until you get sick of them, and then see a change in what's coming. We're all just very hyped for the new thing on the horizon, to see Titans and see what that brings. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. Well, again, thank you everyone for joining us this week. And, we also do like to do interviews. So if you or someone that you know would like to join us on the show, please reach out to us. We have a whole bunch of places you can reach out to us. You can email us at tccgroundtable@protonmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. I'm still going to call it Twitter.
I just gonna call Twitter, yeah.
Yeah. So you can follow us there at TCCG Roundtable. You can use our top pinned tweet there. Don't know what we're going to start calling that if it, name's changing, but whatever. The top thing there. You can find our Discord. Join us in there so you can help us get that Discord a little bit more active and rolling. Or you can use the Discord, just link in the show notes or the YouTube description. And with that, we also do have the video version available via my YouTube. You can find that on YouTube, dragonrider TCCG. And, if you're not interested in the video version, maybe you listen on audio. You should be able to find us everywhere that you can listen to your audio podcasts. And as I mentioned, we do also have that affiliate through Inked Gaming. So you can check out the link that we have in the description or the YouTube, the show notes or the YouTube description. And when you get anything via our link there, you also help directly support us. So that is very much appreciated if you do that. But they have a bunch of cool stuff: play mats, dice bags, cards. They do like a monthly, you can sign up for one of those monthly like boxes. You get some, kind of random mix of stuff with that. I think that's super fun. So definitely check that out with our link if you're interested. But other than that, where can people find you individually, Ron?
So you can find me on Twitter at Ron_HS. You can find me on YouTube at RonMexico HS. And you can find me streaming on Twitch Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern at RonMexico HS. What about where they can find you, Dragon Rider?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at DawnieDK, DAWNIEDK. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Dragon Rider TCCG. Or if you just want to find everything, or you can find me, including the other podcasts that I do focused on Hearthstone Standard, check out my website at dragonridertccg.com. And that is going to do it for this week. So thank you, everybody, for checking this out. And we will see you at the roundtable.